All right, now we'll get into deep fake technology. This is like one of the most interesting, fascinating things to me in new technology. Deep fake technology allows the creation of realistic looking photos, excuse me, and videos of people saying and doing things that they did not actually say or do. And this is a great video that explains it better than I can.
Hello. Today, I'm going to be talking to you about a new technology that's affecting famous people. Remember when Obama called Trump a dipshit?
Complete dipshit.
Or the time Kim Kardashian rapped?
Because I'm always half naked.
Or when Arnold Schwarzenegger impersonated himself?
Get out of there, there's a bomb in there. Get out.
Deepfake, deepfake, deepfake.
Gotta be kidding.
This is a deepfake too. I'm not Adele, but I am an expert in online manipulation. So deepfakes is a term that's used to describe video or audio files that have been created using artificial intelligence.
My favorite is probably Lisa Vanderpump.
It started as a very basic face swapping technology, and now it's turned into film-level CGI. There's been this huge explosion of like, oh my goodness, we can't trust anything. Yes, deepfakes are eerily dystopian, and they're only going to get more realistic and cheaper to make. But the panic around them is overblown. In fact, the alarmist hype is possibly more dangerous than the technology itself. Let me break this down. First, what everyone is freaking out about is actually not new. It's a much older phenomenon that I like to call the weaponization of context, or shallow fakes, with Photoshop and video editing software.
There's so many needs.
How about the time Nancy Pelosi appeared to be drunk while giving a speech?
But you never know with this president of the United States.
Turns out that video was just slowed down at 75%.
It was very strange.
You can have a really simplistic piece of misleading content that can do huge damage. For example, in the lead up to the midterms, we saw lots of imagery around this caravan of people who were moving towards the US. This photo was shared with captions demonizing the so-called migrant caravan at the US-Mexico border in 2018. But a reverse image search showed it was actually Pakistani refugees in Greece. You don't need deep fakes, AI technology to manipulate emotions or to spread misinformation. This brings me to my second point. What we should be really worried about is the liar's dividend. The lies and actions people will get away with by exploiting widespread skepticism to their own advantage. So remember the Access Hollywood tape that emerged a few weeks before the 2016 election?
And when you're a star, they let you do it. You can do anything.
Around that time, Trump apologized, but then more recently, he's actually said, oh, I'm not sure if I actually said that. When anything can be fake, it becomes much easier for the guilty to dismiss the truth as fake. What really keeps me awake at night is less the technology, it's how we as a society respond to the idea that we can't trust what we see or what we hear. So if we are fear-mongering, if we are hyperbolic, if we are waving our hands in the air, that itself can be part of the problem. You can see where this road leads. As public trust in institutions like the media, education, and elections dwindles, then democracy itself becomes unsustainable. The way that we respond to this serious issue is critical. Partly this is the platforms thinking very seriously about what they do with this type of content, how they label this kind of content. Partly it's the public recognizing their own responsibility. And if you don't know 100% hand on heart, this is true, please don't share, because it's not worth the risk.
Love that video. So yeah, this is how a lot of misinformation gets spread, unfortunately, because it looks real, right? And you've got the source of the misinformation or disinformation rather, that gets picked up because it looks real. And then people share it thinking that it's real, but it's not real. So it's quite unfortunate, but has been a problem for some time and will probably continue to be a problem. So as consumers of media, we have to be aware of things like that. Okay. Again, if you know of any other examples of deepfake technology, please send them my way if you have an opportunity. And moving kind of forward, but stemming from this, scholars today conclude that media effects are powerful but limited. So media effects concern like I mean, this seems redundant, but like the effects that media have on society and on, I mean, like society as a whole, but also individuals, right? And it kind of makes me think back to cultivation theory and like mean world syndrome and things like that, where like the effects that media have, they're not as detrimental as we sometimes make them out to be, unless they are at like a really large scale. And looking into the future, digital media consumption is growing. Video, music, and digital subscriptions are rising, and increasing personalization of media messages and advertisements. So we're all using this digital media, regardless of what platforms we use. Subscriptions to these things are rising, and then like we have the ability to personalize, very much like we talked about last unit 9. We have the ability to personalize multiple things, such as like advertisements that directly are influenced from like our social media feeds, right, based on the personalization of those. So really interesting stuff, really interesting to think about, especially as we move forward in society that is primarily like we've been on a digital like space platform, especially during the COVID-19 couple years. So it makes sense that that stuff is increasing, and it makes sense that it will continue to increase too. So just in your opinion, think about whether or not you agree that media effects are powerful but limited. And again, that's like, I'm not asking for like a right or wrong answer. It's just like, how do you think media effects impact your life? And if they are powerful or limited, and limited, or if they're not powerful and if they don't really impact your life. So I will go over weekly assignment 10 in the next video. And then I'll closer to the exam, the final exam, I'll reach out about that, but I won't do that quite yet.